Hey, it's Sparky, Fifer, 1250 AM The Fan, along with our guy Nathan Marzion. Time for another edition of Green and Growing. The Bucks get the win 146-122 over the New York Knicks. Let me just say, we are streaming live on the Odyssey Sports YouTube page. So if you want to check us out on the stream, if you want to chat with us in the comments section on the YouTube page, feel free to leave comments there. I will try to read as many as I can as we are doing this as well. Also, Nathan Marzion, at Nathan Marzion on Twitter. I'm at Sparky Radio. Has us live on Twitter Spaces, I think, however that works.
Yeah, we're live. We're live.
I still don't know how that works, but either way. So he's got us live on this Twitter Spaces thing, which is cool. So hello to everybody. Hopefully there's some Celtics fans listening because you won't be playing in the next round. And the Bucks will be as they take on the Indiana Pacers. But first, let me start by saying, since we have video and so forth going on right now on the Odyssey Sports YouTube page, this is what's going to get me through this podcast of ours here. Let me see if I can show you here. Look, what does that say, Marzion? What does that say right there? Jelly belly, man. A big old red jelly bean of jelly beans. That sugar is going to help me out there. I got that. And then I went and got me some old school. What is that? RC, baby. Oh, me and my RC. Yeah, man. Now we're talking. Yeah, all you youngsters don't know about RC. You can't enjoy RC Marzion like I enjoy me and RC Cola. That's a beautiful thing. And so I've got a lot of sugar. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to deal with this. Bucks crush the Knicks in the quarterfinals. Again, 146-122. I will just say, after the first quarter, I tweeted out, they're not winning this game if they don't show some type of resistance more than they showed in the first quarter. And I'm here to tell you I was dead effing wrong. Like, nothing really changed, other than they just never cooled off, the Bucks, and continued to be unconscious from long range, and it continued throughout the whole game. The Bucks shoot 60% from the field, but wait, get this. They shoot 60% from three as well, 23 of 38. Now, again, when they shoot that well, nobody in this league is beating them. I don't care if you're the Suns, if you're the Celtics, the Lakers, the Nuggets, whoever. Nobody's beating this Bucks team, and they're shooting 60% from three, Nathan. So I'm not really sure how excited to get over this, because it's probably more of a mirage than anything that they shot that well from three, but it's fun to watch when they're shooting the ball that well.
Yeah. And I still think it's worth getting excited for. Obviously they're not going to shoot nearly this well, most games. This is probably going to be easily their best shooting night of the season. I mean, this is one of the best shooting nights in NBA history. This is only the sixth time a team has shot over 60% from three in a game on that many attempts, on 35 or more attempts. So yeah, this is not going to continue like that at that level, but they have been a really good 3-point shooting team, especially as of late. They are, number 8 going into this game in 3-point percentage, which is going to probably go way up, and they'll probably be closer to like this game. They have a ton of shooters on this team, which I was kind of thinking about it today. I'm like, as the game was going on, I was like, where does Beasley rank in like shooters that Giannis has played with? And when you take into account volume and difficulty.
Settle down. It's a month. Like, if he's shooting 45% from three in March, then we can have this conversation. But it's November. I mean, DiVincenzo was out there for the Knicks. I'm sure he had hot months somewhere along the stretch of his career as well, where he was feeling it for a month. I don't want to get all excited about. Trust me, I want Beasley to be this good all year. Like, this would be amazing, because if he's this good in the playoffs, if he's shooting 45% from three, when they get to the postseason, they are going to be a very tough team to beat, Marzion. But can he do it? I don't know. But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't want to ruin your fun. I've just had a lot of sugar. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I understand. But he was 39% on 5 attempts per game in 2019. Then he was 40% on almost 9 attempts per game in 2020-21. He was 38% on 8 attempts per game in 2021-22. Like, this isn't just some fluke month shooting for him. Like, and on that many attempts, that is one of the best in the league at it. Like at that volume, that type of volume that he was at in Minnesota was, I mean, literally he had, I think it was 3-point attempts per 36 minutes. It was Steph, then Clay, then him. So he was taking as many threes as anyone and shooting nearly 40% on them. And now he's, his volume has naturally gone down a little bit because he's on a better team, but he's still attempting, close to 7 a game, and he's shooting 46% on them. I think when you take into account the volume, when you take into account the difficulty, I was like, I truthfully think he might be a top 3 shooter that Giannis has ever played with.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, then name me 3 better.
I
when they played with Giannis, because I know like Kyle Korver, you could say, but like, I don't know. That was his
He was
last
at
year of
the
his
end.
career.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and the other two, the top two, I think, are also on this team. I think it's Dame and Chris and Malik Beasley are the three best shooters Giannis has probably ever played with. When you take into account difficulty of shots, volume of shots, ability to shoot off the dribble. Because like Grayson, yeah, he's a good shooter, but he needed everything perfect. He needed to catch and shoot. He didn't shoot a ton per game. It was a slower release. I just feel like when you're looking at like dynamic shooters and ability to just knock down shots, I think the three best shooters Giannis has ever played with are on this team.
This is
And
what
if you disagree, name me some other
no.
players that you think are better shooters.
But see, this is why I love doing this post-game podcast with you, or any creative growing podcast with you. By the way, download it on your Odyssey app, or download your favorite podcast app. We'll be back at this Thursday, by the way, after Bucks and Pacers. But this is the thing I love about you. I watched that game. I got my 16-month-old sleeping on me on the couch while I'm watching the game because the 7-year-old was out doing basketball evaluations for a basketball team he's going to be on or whatever with his mom. So I'm watching. Never at any point during that entire game did I think to myself, man, Malik Beasley might be one of the best shooters he's ever played. It never, ever crossed my mind. I'll tell you what, I agree with you on Middleton and Damian Lillard, though, being the two best shooters he's played with. By far, not close. I agree with you 100%. Drew Holiday's not in that conversation. But one other thing here. I'll tell you what did cross my mind. And I went to Twitter, and you did not disappoint because you're always right there. Every time I need somebody to slander Bobby Portis, you're there for me every time. So I'm watching, and I'm going, yeah, this probably isn't going to be good for Bobby Portis on Twitter or X. So I go on there and I look, and of course, everybody's killing Bobby Portis. Not everybody. Most people are killing Bobby Portis. Can I just say something real quick here? Like, you all that want Bobby Portis traded, okay, fine. I'm going to give you your wish. I saw one dude say he wants Marcus Smart. He wants to trade Bobby Portis, Marshawn Beauchamp, and somebody else for Marcus Smart or whatever. How is Marcus Smart going to defend the rim? How is that going to happen? How is he going to defend the rim? I get you want a wing defender, and I'm all about getting a wing defender. But if they lose Bobby Portis, they have no other viable big, because Robin Lopez is not a viable big at this point of his career. He's a moral support guy like Thanasis. So from that perspective, they have to replace Bobby Portis with somebody that can rebound the basketball, even if they can't block shots. And again, Portis will block a shot here or there. He had a block, down the stretch there on Julius Randle, which was pretty nice. But for the most part, he's not a rim protector. This team needs a real big besides Brook Lopez and Giannis. To me, when we start talking about, what this team is all about, and Bobby Portis, slander Bobby Portis all you want, but if they lose him, they have to replace him with a big. This cannot be a Bobby Portis for a guard who defends really well. That can't be the exchange. You cannot be that small and win. I don't agree.
I think you can make a trade, Bobby, for a guard, and then sign someone. Ty Jones or someone that can just be a fill-in, 7-minute per game person that just can get some rebounds. Whatever.
Because, you said hold on. 7-minute fill-in guy to replace Bobby freaking Portis.
Yes, because in the playoffs, look, in the playoffs, Bobby Portis is not a 20+ minute per game rotation player. He's not.
Under Bud, he wasn't. Under Bud, he wasn't. We don't know about.
He's not now. We're seeing it. We're seeing now what happens to him. Most games he plays against good teams. Obviously we know what he can do offensively at times, and we know he can fill it up a little bit, hit some shots, good mid-range game and all that, and he gets rebounds. But he gets eaten alive. He gets eaten alive defensively, can't survive on the court on that end. He still, his offense hasn't been fantastic this year. Like, it still has taken a dip. And if he's not giving you really good offense, then like, what's he giving you? I think a big reason why people are like, because everyone's like, well, who do you get to defend the rim? Well, Bobby's not defending the rim either. So if you might as well just get a guard that can defend.
But he's scoring and rebounding, and he's 6'9", 6'10". A 6'3" guard is not going to help me do anything, especially if he can't score. So now I've got a guy out there that can't score, but can try and defend. Well, hell, that's Andre Jackson. I put Andre Jackson out there. Let him defend.
No, we need. We need perimeter defense as much as we need a backup big. I think both are important problems. I'm not saying that they're not, but for me, I'm just like looking at this. I'm like, I don't know what Bobby gives you in the playoffs. I don't have any idea what Bobby gives you. Besides energy and some rebounding. I don't trust his offense to be great. He's shooting 29% from 3 this year, and it's inconsistent. He'll have games, yes, but it's inconsistent. And then defensively, I don't trust him at all. He's incredibly slow. He's a terrible rim protector. And so at that point, I'm like, I don't care if you have no backup big, because your backup big right now is not providing anything defensively. Like,
because he's not a center. He shouldn't be playing center. He shouldn't be relying on to be a big. He should be a power forward, which is what he is. Bobby Portis never at any point said, dude, I'm one of the best centers in the league, man. I can hang with anybody. He shouldn't be playing center.
But if you take him off center, he's going to be on the perimeter more, and he's going to get eaten alive on the perimeter.
Everybody's on the perimeter. Brook Lopez goes out on the perimeter now on this damn defense.
I know, but I'm just saying he's going to be even more out on the perimeter. He just can't survive defensively, I don't think, unless he somehow completely turns it around. And so in my eyes, I'm like, I'd easily rather have a lockdown perimeter defending guard that I know what they're going to give me. I know that they're going to give me something that the Bucks desperately need than Bobby Portis. And I think you can find some rebounding and size much more easily than you can find an actually good perimeter defender. And again, Bobby, I think, has some trade value. I don't think he's, because people are like, well, maybe trade Marzion or Andre Jackson. I don't know how much trade value those guys have. I don't know if teams actually even have any idea that those guys have any potential at all. Like, they might just see them as a throw-in in a deal. Whereas Bobby, you can look at Bobby and say, okay, the guy averages 12 points, 8 rebounds. Like, he's not a bad player. And convince a team that, okay, take him and our early second round pick and give us, a perimeter defending player. I think there's a decent chance of that happening. And I think if there is, Horst will get it done. So that's just where I stand on it. And that's how I've stood the whole time. Is I'm just like, I don't see his value in the playoffs. So you might as well get someone here that can play in the playoffs. I don't care what position they are. I'd rather have someone that can play in the playoffs than someone that can't. Like, that's what I look at.
I don't know what contracts are necessarily, but if you look at Chicago, let's say, who was talking about possibly blowing it up, and if you can get a big from Chicago and Bobby Portis goes back, and then to fill in that deal to make it more attractive, you throw in a Beauchamp or you throw in an Andre Jackson, that's how it becomes attractive for a team that's about to rebuild. Or a team that's in a rebuild like the Detroit Pistons, whose apparently locker room is complete garbage, it sounds like, and Monty Williams is having all kinds of problems. They're probably going to do something significant, I would assume, between now and the trade deadline. That's another team that's looking to add young guys too, and then maybe you give them a veteran to build around. So they would be another team if there is somebody on that Pistons roster that you would like to come here and play. Here are some comments on the Odyssey Sports YouTube page. Dewan says, talking about Bobby Portis, he gives you rebounding, scoring, and he's the enforcer on the team. Okay, so let's talk about the enforcer aspect of things. I think
that stuff is, look, he's the energy guy. He's not an enforcer all the time.
Analysis. I mean, if
because
you're being honest.
Because enforcer, you got to play some defense to be an enforcer. You can't just be a guy. Like, I feel like that stuff is just made up lingo that people
definitely
are like,
not. No, absolutely
he's the
not.
Enforcer. I watch him get destroyed defensively.
No.
How is that an enforcer? That's not an enforcer. PJ Tucker was an enforcer because he made guys work on defense.
You don't understand what the term means. I'll help you. No, enforcer means Giannis gets into something, and instead of Giannis getting kicked out of the game, Bobby Portis steps in, and he's the one that takes he's the one that takes it. Dame Lillard is lying on the ground where he got hit hard. He comes running in to take that fight versus Lillard popping it up and doing something. That's what we talk about being an enforcer. And Brook Lopez can be that guy too. The problem is you have nobody to replace Brook Lopez if Brook Lopez gets kicked out of a game. If Bobby becomes unhinged and loses his mind, yes, it hurts, but it's not end of the world in a game situation. That's what he means by enforcer.
You'd rather have an enforcer like that than a guy that actually can play some defense. You rather give up 120 points a game, but hey, we got a guy that'll get kicked out for Giannis. I don't
Marzion.
Like, no.
Who else on this team?
What I hate. This is what I can't stand
Who
about.
Who else on this team is playing defense?
Conversation.
Their defense isn't good by any stretch.
That's why you get a defender. Get another defender. Get a perimeter defender.
Listen, a perimeter defender is not going to make up for the fact that Lillard sometimes runs back on defense and other times doesn't run back on defense. Lillard sometimes makes boneheaded, lazy passes and sometimes doesn't make boneheaded, lazy passes. Like, there's a bunch going on with this roster that you can look at and go, that's an issue, that's an issue, that's an issue, that's an issue. One perimeter defender, in my opinion, at least in my opinion, and you obviously disagree, I don't think one perimeter defender is going to make this some top 5 defense. I
It
just
doesn't need to make a
don't.
top 5 defense. It doesn't need to. It needs to make it an okay defense in a team that won't give up 120 something points every single game, because their offense is going to be great. Their offense is amazing. Their offense might be the best in the league. They don't need to have an elite defense, but right now they're bad. Right now their defense is almost bad enough that it's losing them games when their offense is good. That's not good enough.
But is it the system or is it the players? Because this
It's a
is
little of
roughly the
both.
same
It's a little of
roster as
both.
Bud.
It's a little of both. It's a little of both. I don't think Dame has been really bad defensively. I think Dame's been okay defensively. Like, he's been average. And I think that they need, if you can get another defender in here to just help this thing out a little bit, give you a perimeter guy that can provide some resistance, move their feet, not allow guys to just drive right past them, because we see Chris has allowed it to happen. Dame has
Yep.
allowed it to happen. Malik Beasley has allowed it to happen. Campaign, Pat Connaughton, all those guys have allowed that to happen all year. It's just they don't provide much resistance. Now, they obviously have Giannis and Brook as their good defenders, but the perimeter is just collapsing. And if you can get a guy that you can plug into that closing lineup that can do that, that's a huge thing. Like, and I'm not saying that that's going to make them a top 5 defense. It doesn't, but again, it doesn't need to. If that can take them from the 22nd, 23rd defense to the 16th defense, that can make them that much more of a title contender. And again, I don't know what you're losing by trading Bobby Portis other than this, energy stuff. Like, and I get that I get he has energy. I
And
get that.
points and rebounding.
Not in the playoffs, though. He
Okay.
gives you some rebounding. Rebounding,
right.
sure. Like, I'll
Here's
give you the
another
rebounding.
one. Here's
Rebounding
one.
and energy. But
Mark says, what about the big white guy, Leonard, from last year? Want Myers Leonard back? Does that help?
No.
You sure? Big
Yes.
7. He was okay in spurts last year. I'd rather have him than Robin Lopez.
But you're not playing either of those guys in the playoffs. You're not playing any of them. I mean,
you're not playing anybody you mentioned in the playoffs either. That's going to replace Bobby Portis.
What do you mean?
You brought up somebody earlier.
You mean a big,
yes,
like Kai Jones?
Yeah, who are you going to replace him with?
Truthfully, I don't think you absolutely have to have a 15-minute per game big to replace Bobby Portis. I don't.
So you're just going to play small and hope that you are within 15 rebounds at the end of the night or 10 rebounds at the end of the night.
They haven't been that bad of a rebounding team.
They're going to be if he goes bye-bye. Again, you know what that's going to mean? I'll tell you what that's going to mean. Old man Crowder, if he can actually stay healthy and stay on the floor, they're going to look at him and go, you got to give me 8 a night. Like, that's going to have to be a thing. You're going to have to rebound more than anything else when you're out there. Because Crowder's not blocking shots either, but at least he's got a bigger sized body that can maybe go up there and compete for some rebounds. That's going to be the guy that's going to get looked at to have to go rebound the basketball. Or it's going to have to be the defense changes a little bit and we're going to have to group rebound and not worry about getting out as quickly and releasing, because everybody's going to have to crash the board so we don't get killed on the boards on a night in, night out basis going forward. But anyways, that was fun. I'm glad I was able to bring that up and harass you a little bit.
Again, I just want to say, I think, as I said, I don't think the guy needs to come in and be 15 minutes per game in the playoffs. I think you can get someone that can be a 6 to 7 minute per game in the playoffs, just for the sake of, okay, we need a little bit of size. Go out there. We're trying to give Giannis and Brook a rest or whatever, or one of those guys a rest, and just be someone that can get some rebounds. I think that is much, much, much easier to find. A big that can play for 7 minutes, 8 minutes a game, get some rebounds, and has some size, and not be terrible, than a legitimate perimeter defender that helps this defense. Like, if you can trade Bobby Portis for that, I'm 100 times out of 100 doing it, and then I can replace Bobby Portis with someone I find that can just give me a little bit of time for rebounding. The perimeter defense thing is, to me, the biggest issue still, and that is going to be the thing that they need to probably address. And it's like, the best way to address it, really the only way, is by trading Bobby Portis. I don't know who else you're trading that you're going to get someone good enough that makes, like, because again, if you got someone, when I say someone that could make them go from 22nd, 23rd to 16th, that's someone like a Caruso or a Dorian Finney-Smith that's like legitimately good. I'm not talking about just some, not good player that, they can give you some defense. No, I'm talking about a legitimately good defensive player. If you're trying to get that, you basically have to give up Bobby Portis, because you're not getting it with Marzion, you're not getting it with Pat Connaughton. It's just not happening. So that, as I've said for a long time, that's just where I stand on it. And I've just kind of gotten more and more convinced of it as I watch these games is like, yeah, Bobby has his moments. He's still going to have plenty of games where he has 20 something points and 12 rebounds and he looks great on offense. And it's like, all right, it didn't matter that his defense was bad tonight because he made up for it on offense. And those games, cool. He's great for. And I'll have a bunch of people saying, I can't believe you wanted to trade Bobby. But once those playoffs come around, it's going to be the same thing it's been for 3 years where he's not that playable. He's very bad defensively. And you kind of are sitting there going, man, we could have used we could have used his value for something much more important with perimeter defense, whatever, that we were kind of just, we kept Bobby Portis to grab some rebounds, have some energy and not play that much in the playoffs. And that's what, instead of getting a perimeter defender, I don't want to be in that position.
AJ Green really could be an X factor and wild card for this team. When they get in situations where they can't hit a shot or whatever the case may be, to be able to plug him in and let him go if he's on fire on a given night, he could really be a momentum changer for this Bucks team in different situations. I mean, you saw tonight, he comes in, hits 3 threes right off the bat. And then I love Greenberg talking to him about, oh, you've got more points tonight than you have in your last 3 games combined. What's changed? What's different or whatever the case may be. And Green gave him, it was very nice in his answer. But from that perspective, I think he isn't going to necessarily be a great defender or anything like that. I get all of that. But you talk about top 3 shooters and all this other stuff. I mean, that's another guy that in certain situations for 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there, in big game situations can really give you some instant offense off of the bench. And to be honest with you, outside of Portis, you don't really have that other person on the bench right now that can come in. And again, I'm talking, and I'm not saying he's this guy, so let's not overreact. But, off the bench, all of a sudden, in comes Jamal Crawford, or in comes, what's his name? Lou, what's his name? Yeah, Lou Williams. Guys that were those instant offense guys, Ginobili off the bench for the Spurs. Those type of guys really don't exist on this Bucks roster right now. And in this dude's situation here, he doesn't have to create. He doesn't have to be anybody off the dribble. He just has to sit and wait for Giannis or Middleton or Lillard to get him the ball and hit an open jump shot. And he seemingly does it at a fairly good pace. And we talk about Marzion, Beauchamp, who's been hitting threes pretty good this year. But I think he might be an X factor here, for this team come the postseason, providing he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I think him and Andre Jackson are both plug-in guy. Yeah, I kind of mentioned this a couple of times where I think they're both just spot guys. Plug them in times where you kind of need what they give you. If you need some shooting, plug in AJ Green for a little bit, see if he can get hot, see if he can hit a couple threes. And we kind of know that a couple threes go in from him, then maybe it helps the other team get going. It gets the rhythm going. And then with Andre Jackson, it's the opposite. It's defensively. If you're struggling to get stops, if you are just providing no resistance on the perimeter, throw throw Andre Jackson in there for a little bit and see if he can, provide some energy, provide some perimeter defense, just be a ball stopper out there and just kind of wreak some havoc for 5 minutes and see if it throws off the other team. Be aggressive and just maybe generate some steals. I don't know. Just throw him out there. I think they're both kind of that way. And I'm sure with both of them, there'll be times people are clamoring for them to get more minutes and, they should be playing regularly. I don't think either of them is ready to play super regularly, but I think they both just can play like at any time. I'm fine throwing them out there. They are good at what they do for the most part. I don't, in their limited time, I don't know if they can do it full time, but it's like just for both of those guys, throw them out there when you need them. Don't be afraid to use AJ Green a little bit or use Andre Jackson a little bit.
Let me ask you this. Mark on the Odyssey Sports YouTube page where we're live streaming says AJ better than Marzion. What do you say?
I don't want to sound like a Marzion hater. Marzion's fine. I don't know what to think of him lately. Like he's got some good moments, he's got some bad moments. He's just been kind of inconsistent, and that's how he's been his first couple of years. It's just like, okay, there's flashes and it looks like, okay, he might be putting it together, and then he has a little bit of a bad stretch, and then he looks not very aggressive, and he fouls too much sometimes. I don't really know what to think of him. I think AJ AJ's a higher floor, lower ceiling guy. AJ's okay. He'll give you one thing and he'll probably do it pretty well. Whereas Marjan's like, he can give you multiple things. He can give you some shooting. He can give you some defense. He can, give you some off the dribble. He can do whatever. But there's none of them that you're always 100% like, I trust that it's
Well,
going to work.
this is
They're very different. It's hard to pick.
For me, I would take Marzion only because he's longer, which gives you a better chance of being a better defender. He's more athletic, probably in the open court, and that helps you in that situation. He can beat you off the dribble, I think, in some situations, maybe more than Green can as well. So I think I would lean Marzion over AJ Green just because AJ Green is more of a one-trick pony, where Beauchamp gives you the opportunity to be able to bring more than one thing to the table. Now, I agree with you; he's inconsistent, but that would be my take on it.
Yeah, at their best, Marjan's way better. Like, Marjan, again, can just do more. He can play both sides and all that. But again, just the inconsistency. Like, there's definitely times where I could see myself going, I'd rather have AJ Green in this game than Marjan Beauchamp. But there's probably more times where I'd say the opposite, I think. So I guess I'll stick with Marjan. And I do just think Marjan's the better player all around. It's I'm not saying that AJ Green's a better all around player, but when we talk about who you trust to play and who you just believe in, it's like AJ Green having one thing that he can do consistently. Like, that's important when you're a role player, to have one thing that you are consistently good at is big. And when you don't have that, that's when it kind of hurts you. Is like that's when role players start to lose their job. It's like when Pat Connaughton loses his shot a little bit, and it's all of a sudden like, okay, what's he really giving you consistently if he's not hitting his shots? And it's like, if Marjan's not playing great defense or not hitting his shot, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, what's he, he doesn't have anything I really can rely on all the time, every time he's in there. So I don't know. We'll just have to see if he can, nail down any of those things.
All right, let's look ahead here. Bucks Pacers semifinal Thursday. First, let me say what a dumb start time this is. 4:00 in the afternoon. People are gonna be working. Like, who the hell is gonna have time to sit here and watch this whole game? I guess Marzion, his job. They'll probably let him off early so he can go watch it, which I appreciate you very much for doing that. I work in radio. It's my job to watch sports, so I'll be able to watch it. But for most people that have a 9-to-5 job, they're not going to be able to sneak away and watch the first half of this game, and then they're going to have to drive home. They're going to maybe see maybe the fourth quarter, midway through the third to the end of the game. Like, I really do not see the purpose in doing this at all. And it's all because they want to get the Western Conference game tipped off at 7:00 Vegas time. That doesn't make any damn sense to me. Like, you easily could have started this an hour later, 5:00 Central, and then started that next one at 8:00 Vegas time. Then I think it would still have been. It's Vegas, man. People don't sleep in Vegas, or at least that's what they tell me. Like, why the heck does that game have to start at 7:00 the second game? So I'll start previewing this game by complaining about the damn tip time on Thursday against the Pacers.
Sparky, I got to run and get my laptop charger super quick. So rant for 2 minutes and I'll be right back.
Oh, that won't be hard at all. All right. So listen, Bucks and Pacers coming up on Thursday. And this Pacers team is playing obviously really, really well at this point, and they're shooting the ball really well. And similar kind of to, what I said on Twitter at the beginning of this game, which was, hey, look, if this defense doesn't get any better, they're not going to win this game. And I was wrong, because the defense really didn't get all that better. But what didn't change was the Bucks' ability to shoot the outside shot, shoot 60% from the floor, shoot over 60% from 3-point range. That's not sustainable, game to game in an NBA season. It's just not sustainable. So that's probably not going to happen again. That's kind of what I have felt about the Pacers pretty much all year. Like, there is no way offensively they can maintain the pace that they're on right now. Like, they're on track, I believe, to absolutely shatter the offensive scoring mark on average per game if they keep this up for the entire season. Maybe it's sustainable. Maybe they will, shatter the offensive mark offensively for an NBA team at the end of the regular season. But I guess I'm still struggling buying the Pacers. And I know, got local guy, Halliburton, triple-double, everybody loving Halliburton. Look, man, I love Halliburton too. He's a damn good player, no question. He's having a coming out party in the first in-season tournament, and that's great. If they get to the playoffs and they get swept and he lays an egg, nobody's going to care about this in-season tournament come April and May. It's just not going to be a thing. Right now, in the moment, it's cool. Could they beat the Bucks if they continue to shoot lights out like they've been shooting? Yes. And that's why I think it's a very real possibility the Bucks lose this game against the Pacers on Thursday. because the Bucks have shown no ability to stop anybody. And if this Pacer team starts feeling it and going, Bucks are in trouble. I mean, they're going to have to shoot damn near as well as they shot in this game in order to keep up with the Pacers for 4 quarters out in Vegas. The only thing that makes me feel a little bit better about this is this Pacers team hasn't been in a meaningful game in 100 years. So from that perspective, maybe there's some pressure. Maybe there's some of that plays into it. This Bucks team is veteran, savvy, laden team. They know what they're doing. They've been in big games before. So they're just going to go in and do them. I think maybe the Pacers, might enjoy Vegas a little much, right? Hey, man, let's party. We made it. We're in the semifinals. Might lose a little bit of focus, even with Rick Carlisle as their coach. By the way, if you don't think Carlisle's a great coach, you're an idiot. But I really think that that's probably the best Bucks advantage that they have right now is, okay, maybe they lose focus a little bit. And that's how the Bucks win this thing. Because I'll tell you right now, the Pacers played like they played the last game. This defense is not stopping that. There's just no chance. Absolutely no chance that's happening, Nathan.
Well, I think this Pacers team is going, obviously they're going to score a ton of points on us, and that's pretty much a given. But
yep.
I don't think we need to shoot super well from 3 to stay in this game, because the Bucks didn't have Dame and only made 9 threes last time they played them and ended up in a 126-124 loss because they don't have anyone to guard Giannis. So I don't think the Bucks need to shoot lights out. I think you lean on Giannis mainly, and obviously you're going to need to hit some shots, but it's going to be ride Giannis to another 40-point night and he's going to have definitely more help than he had in that Pacers game when he has, Lillard on the floor with him. So I think the Bucks can keep up with them. I don't know if they'll be able to get, eventually enough stops to win. I think the Pacers are just a bad matchup for this team. And, it's a young team that plays a super fast pace, gets out in transition, amazing offense. Like going into that game when we didn't have Dame, I was like, I don't expect us to win this game. Like I just think this is a really bad matchup. They started out super poorly. They were down like 20 in the first quarter. Yep. I thought the game was over. We luckily came back. Giannis went crazy, but I could see them definitely losing this game and just kind of, I truthfully could see them losing it in a blowout, possibly. I'm not going to predict that, but I could see it happening. Just again, I think it's a pretty bad matchup. I think the Pacers are going to get up for this game even more than the Bucks will. But both of these teams are going to be able to score at will. And as you said, the Pacers haven't been in any super meaningful games, where there's been actual stakes and stuff. So we'll see, a game in Vegas, a little bit brighter lights. Like we'll see if that affects them. But Halliburton's going to have a night, I'm sure. Bucks fans will act like this only happens against the Bucks, even though it just happened to Drew Holiday the other night. Like, I don't know. You see this happen with other teams that you're like, okay, the Pacers are just a ridiculously good offense when they're doing this to every other team. So I'm not going to be worried if we give up 120, 130 points, because that's what the Pacers do. But
think about this.
It's just a matter of, can we keep up with it? But
if you're Rick Carlisle, and Rick Carlisle's watching Green and Growing right now on the Odyssey Sports YouTube page, or maybe Rick is downloading it on the Odyssey Sports app or listening on his favorite podcast place that he listens to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, whatever. And he listens to Nathan, and Nathan says, and he laughed, mocking the Pacers. Marzion did. So I think I don't need to guard Giannis. I mean, who cares how many threes they shoot? They can't guard Giannis. And Rick Carlisle's listening to that and goes, young Nathan, you're right. But what you don't realize is I'm going to play this like I was coaching the Pistons in the playoffs. They never won a championship. Or when I was coaching Dallas, right? That's how I'm going to play this. We're going to play this like a damn playoff game. And you know what I'm going to do, young Marzion? Every time Giannis on defense, whoever he's guarding, they're going to get the ball. And they're going to pump fake, and they're going to lure him into getting fouls. And my goal is to get 3 fouls on him by early second quarter, if at all possible, and get him out of the game as soon as possible. And once he's out, then we play. And I'm telling you, that is how, if I'm the Pacers, how I look at this. Whoever Giannis is guarding, I'm throwing the ball to and go one-on-one. Pump fake, see if you can get him up in the air, jump into him, do what you got to do. That's how I'm playing it, because if I'm Carlisle, I agree with you. I got nobody. Miles Turner, no. I mean, they just don't have anybody. So the only way to win that game, if you don't want to be in this high-scoring shootout and you want to control the game and win easily or win easier, is you get Giannis in foul trouble. And then let's see if Lillard and Middleton and those guys can score enough to keep up with what you do offensively. As
Yeah,
I said
but
while you were away getting your charger, I don't think this is sustainable offense for the Pacers. There's no way they are going to continue this offense all year long. They may continue it through Vegas, but if they're still scoring at this rate and shooting the ball this well by the time we get to March or April, they're going to be a team to deal with in the Eastern Conference that nobody saw coming if they can play like this all year.
with the Giannis foul thing, I mean, yes, but then if they're just going at Giannis every possession, they're kind of going away from what makes them great as an offense and just targeting. It takes you away from your game to just and then you're just trying to get Giannis in foul trouble. I think that could end up helping the Bucks because Giannis is a good defender. So okay, go one-on-one against him and Giannis will probably win. And then you're not, you're just kind of getting away from your game. So I'm okay with that. But I mean, that's going to be one of their main goals, I'm sure, is to try to get some fouls on him and just get him out of the game. But I also just don't think they can like double a ton because now again, in that first game, they didn't do it and we didn't even have Dame. So it's like they still weren't doubling when we didn't have Dame. And now it's like, okay, if you're going to double off him now, we've got one of the best scorers in the NBA alongside of him. So good luck with that. And, the Pacers have been an atrocious defensive team. As good as they've been offensively, they've been almost equally as bad defensively. So that's what's keeping them from being like an elite team is every single game is just like 135, 130. And it's them, going crazy offensively, but not being able to get any stops. And again, the Bucks have been pretty similar. The Bucks have been not as bad as them defensively, but they've been an amazing offensive team and a bad defensive team. So there should be a shootout again. And I don't, what did you think of, I want to ask, what did you think of the Bucks defense tonight? Because I know they gave 122 to the Knicks, who aren't a great offense, but I think it was more so, at least more so compared to other games, the free throw stuff. And I don't know. I thought I thought the refs were bad tonight. And
Yes.
I don't usually blame the refs. I thought the refs, and we won the game by 24 points, but I thought the refs were bad for the Bucks. Like, I don't just think it was a bad all around reffing game. I think they were very much favoring the Knicks. Knicks shot 29 of 33 from the line. Like the Bucks on average give up like 16 and a half free throws made per game. They give up 29. That's 13 points more than they usually give up from the line than their average this season. So it's like if they had shot as many free throws as the Bucks usually give up, and which again, I think there were a lot of bad calls in this game. I thought the Knicks got way more free throws than they should have. It's closer to a 110 allowed, and you're not thinking that this was a horrible defensive game. Knicks shot 30% from three, 49% from the field. So it wasn't a great defensive game, but I don't know. I wasn't as upset about it as I was other games. And plus you're up big, you're scoring a ton. I think they let up a little bit.
I didn't see much resistance throughout this game. These guys got to wherever they wanted to go. I think if I was a Knicks fan, I'd be pissed that they went away from Brunson. Like I didn't understand that at all. It became the Julius Randle show. And I get Randall's a good player, but they don't have anybody that's quick enough to stay in front of Brunson. I mean, Lillard tries sometimes, but Brunson should have been the guy taking most of those shots, in my opinion. Especially when that game was getting away, they should have just said, "Here you go," and let Jalen Brunson try and keep him in that game because Randall was not going to do it by himself. He's just not that explosive type scorer that's going to be able to do it. And I think Brunson gives you that ability to be that guy, and then let Randall play off of him. As they start to collapse, let Randall get those open shots. I think that was kind of a coaching blunder or strategy blunder, I guess, a little bit on Thibodeau's part to a certain degree. But I don't think the Bucks defense was all that special tonight, personally. I didn't think there was anything great at all. I mean, when they wanted to get to the rim, they got to the rim. It wasn't like Brook Lopez was swatting shots left and right around the rim either. They pretty much got where they wanted to go. I felt like an all-star game for 3/4 of that game. So, no, I wasn't all that impressed. And if they play like this against the Pacers, like I said, they're not winning this. They're not winning that game. They're just not. And
I don't know because if their offense looks this good, the Pacers defense.
Yes,
like, I think
you said earlier, there's no way they're going to play. I mean, it's not sustainable to shoot 60% from the field and from three in the same game.
No. But I think the 3-point percentage will come down, but Giannis's overall production will go up because they're going to feed him more. And the Pacers are a much, much worse defensive team than the Knicks. So I think it all kind of evens out. I think there's a chance the Bucks could put up 140 something and win the game. Even if they gave up 138, 140 points, they can put up 145. Like, it sounds crazy, but I think they can.
God. Oh,
As crazy as it sounds, like you
my
think, okay, you
God.
go up 135, 140, you're not winning, but they could win against the Pacers with how good the offense has looked. I think they could. I truthfully think they can hold up. And I want to say too, the rebounding was better tonight than it was that first game against the Knicks. That first game against the Knicks, it was like their worst rebounding game of the year. Tonight they out rebounded them 37-36. And you can say, well, that's because the Bucks made a ton of shots. They didn't allow them to get offensive rebounds. But we did shoot 51% from three in the first game, and we got out rebounded 37-56.
What did you shoot from the field in
No,
the first game?
sorry, 41-56. 43%. 43%.
Right. 60% and 60%. That's a big, big difference, Marzion. Even you know that. That's why you're smiling. All right.
No, I know. I'm just saying the rebounding wasn't as bad.
Yeah. All right. There he is, Nathan Marzion. Follow him on Twitter at Nathan Marzion. I'm Sparky. Follow me at Sparky Radio, 1250 amthefan.com. Got a great interview up with Ryan Wood from the Green Bay Press Gazette that I did earlier today, talking about the Packers and Chiefs and possible contract numbers for Jordan Love. We get into that. And then coming up tomorrow afternoon, probably around, 1, 2 o'clock, I'll be posting another interview that I did today with Tim Muma of BrewerFanatic.com. He's got a great story up on the Brewers offseason and what the Jackson Trio signing means, Wade Miley, and kind of what this means for the Brewers offseason going forward. That'll be posted tomorrow afternoon. So, again, if you don't ever go to 1250amthefan.com, shame on you. I do interviews throughout the week, each week. Always got some good stuff up there. And, of course, this fine deal here, Green and Growing on your Odyssey app, wherever you download your favorite podcast. Curd and Long, my Packer podcast I do with Ryan Horvath. That is also up. That's up 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5 p.m. Marzion, Toy Drive last week, Blaine's Farm and Fleet. It was fun. It was good. I was out there with a bunch of volunteers from Children's Hospital. Allie Faith came out as well from Kiss FM. I don't know if you saw the pictures, that gigantic semi of Blaine's Farm and Fleet that they had out there. We filled that damn thing with 22 boxes of toys. Did over right around $115,000 in cash and toys for our toy drive this year. So thanks to everybody that donated online, everybody that came on out, dropped off toys or made cash donations. Much, much appreciated. That was by far the biggest one that we've had since prior to COVID. And thanks to Blaine's Farm and Fleet, Bear Sunrooms for letting us use their sunroom as well and being a part of that. And Steelwind Industries, Marzion in Oak Creek, showed up, bought 16 shopping carts of toys. 16 shopping carts of toys with all their managers and donated all of those toys. And I call them the guardian angels of our toy drive. So very cool of them to do that. And Blaine's Farm and Fleet donated a bunch of toys as well at the end. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thursday, what time would you think we're going to be on? Like 6:30 Central or something like that? Probably the game starts at 4 in the afternoon.
I'll be watching the game. I'm gonna make sure I'm watching the entire game. I'll be at home in front of the TV by 4 o'clock.
So will I.
I'll figure out a way.
I'll be here too. Yeah, I'll be here. You know. Yeah.
By the way, I do owe you a thank you for going this whole 43 and a half minutes.
No, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to bring it up. Right. Don't bring it up.
Thank you. Okay. That's fine.
No.
I just wanted to.
I'm not going to bring it up. Badgers did slam Michigan State, however, tonight. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. Toodles.